Well, where is the rest of the chase? That's the question. And with two riders on the front here, of course, they've been out front all day, and the riders chasing behind at least have slightly fresher legs. You wouldn't necessarily call them fresh, but less fatigued legs is probably the best way you could possibly describe it, because this has been an absolute bun fight, an arm wrestle. It's gone on all day, and it would probably go on all night if they tacked on another 50 kilometres. And you know what? There's riders in there. If you said that to them, they'd probably throw themselves into the fight. They've continued to believe, continued to battle, and it's been classics racing in a very classic sense today. An absolutely hugely entertaining affair, and a great job now being done by the Luxembourg rider Arthur Clackers on the front for the Tudor Pro Cycling squad. They've got Dainese ready to pick up. They're out of other riders though. I think they've slightly run out of, or have they got riders ready to resume the chase? The gap down to just a handful of seconds, and Soudal-QuickStep is going to continue to stretch this one out. Maybe, just maybe, Edward Thun's, even if the group is drawn back, everyone will be in such a state that he might just still have a chance.
Uno X there in second, third and fourth wheel of the chase group. We've got Erlen Blickra, the fast man from Uno X, on the back of their mini train at the moment. And Jaco Alula, they are currently, without Dylan Groenewegen, caught up behind that crash that we saw Riley Pickerel trying to dust himself off from. So there's a whole host of riders missing from the chase group, from what was the peloton. It's split completely in half. So we've got three groups chasing each other, 4K to go, and only very small gaps between all of them.
Well, it's finally poised, to say the least. It seems almost inevitable that they're coming back. Inside 4 to go. A little forlorn look over the shoulders from Van Geloof of the Soudal-QuickStep squad. Lamperti's still in there. Gap showing at 7 seconds. And, of course, the peloton itself has split with that crash at the roundabout a few kilometres ago. And some significant names are not present in this chase group behind. And there's really only one rider chasing two, albeit the groups are a little bit bigger than that at the moment. And as you say, Blickra available for the Uno X Mobility squad, number 122, just moving up onto the tail of his teammate Hvideberg, and they have representation up front for Roussel. Eric Nordsetter Roussel has been at the front pretty much all day, 28 years young, and this were he to hang on for victory today would be a glorious success, and indeed even a top 5 finish would be a pretty good result for him. Down to the final 3 kilometres, it's by no means certain that they're going to drag it back. It's a really finely poised battle. The maximum advantage for this group out front, by my calculation, it's never been over a minute. It's somewhere around about the 55-second mark is probably as much as they've had since this formed as a 15 out front, and it's slowly and surely been whittled down, and now back up to double figures for the first time in a little while. They're all looking anxiously over their shoulders, but you never know, they just might hang on.
Yeah, more fresh riders now. Uno X just contributing to the chase. Looking further down, see who else is there. A good complement of riders, I think, with Arna Marit from Intermarché. And then behind that was also the two Cofidis riders, Allegard and Milan Fretin, who's already been a winner a couple of times this season. So the chase picking up again under the impetus of Uno X Mobility, just assisting now with Tudor.
Cofidis have representation up front, they've representation behind, and options aplenty. Fretin would certainly be a great pick for them. Do they back Fretin and go to try and chase down their teammate up front? These are the kind of decisions that need to be made. No decision making really for the Lidl Trek squad. They're 100% in for Edward Thun's here, as Jakob Soudal-QuickStep continues to press on and continues to stretch it thin as best he can. Next to Astana squad of Alessandro Romele, the 21-year-old Italian rider, and we're down to 1,800 metres remaining and down to just a handful of seconds. The final push. They might just get on inside the final kilometre here, the way things are going, but are there riders coming from behind? They're going to continue. They're starting to wind up for a sprint behind, and that could be all that it takes to close it down.
Israel Premier Tech, so Hugo Hofstetter must be their third wheel of the Israel Premier Tech team. So it's been a heap of teams sort of sitting, waiting as long as possible, trying to close this gap at the very last second and launch their sprinter. And Israel Premier Tech are now riding themselves onto the back of the leading group inside 1.5 kilometres to go.
Well, it's a kilometre for the leaders up front. It's about 1,100 metres for the chasers behind. It's that finally poised, and they're about to latch on, literally, as they arrive into the final, 750 metres of the day remaining. Soudal-QuickStep and Van Galufa have pushed hard to try and ensure a situation that this group would at least contest for the win today. Edwarton, sitting in 4th place, is still nicely placed ahead of the sprint. How much energy has he got left after a long day in the break? They're all starting to crowd around and try and move up, and Robbie Case is trying to put himself into a perfect and prime position, but the junction is made, albeit the amount of riders coming up is relatively short. Soudal-QuickStep goes to try and stretch it out one more time. We're coming into the conclusion of the affair, and it's knitting up, but inside the final 300 metres, it's going to be the breakaway that could contest this one. Edwarton is going for glory here, and will he have the legs to hang on? Well, Soudal-QuickStep is trying to present him into prime position, and he's coming off his wheel is Lamperti. Lamperti coming for glory. Will Lamperti get there? I think Turns hung on. What about that? An absolutely sensational conclusion. Almost a big bunch sprint, but not quite, because the break hung on at the conclusion of Bredene Koksijde Classic, and that is going to be a record average speed, and that is going to be a victory for the Lidl Trek squad. Edward Tuns gets up and converts some wonderful effort, not just from himself, but also from his teammate Soudal-QuickStep, and glory for the Lidl Trek squad. He can hardly believe it. What a fight and what a battle, and ultimately it goes to the attackers out front.